On the worst roads on Earth, blackened mining pits, half-frozen logging tracks, the endless Outback, a Western Star truck keeps moving long after prettier rigs have failed. These machines were never made for comfort or curb appeal. They were born in 1967 to survive where others surrender, purpose-built for men who treat a truck as a lifeline, not just equipment. If you think trucking means mainstream models and endless fleet specs, think again. Most people have never seen what happens when jobs get brutal enough to need a Western Star. But the real story is in the details. Why this brand chose handcraft over mass production, and how one factory in Kelowna forged a legend built for the toughest jobs. The answer starts with a single question. What does it take to create a truck that won't quit, even when the world around it comes apart? In 1967, a new kind of truck plant opened its doors in Kelowna, British Columbia. This was not just another assembly line. It was the launch site for White Western Star, a division of White Motor Corporation, built with a single goal: to make trucks that could survive the punishing demands of the West. At a time when most manufacturers aimed for volume and uniformity, the Kelowna plant took a different path. Here, every truck was built with the kind of grit demanded by miners, loggers, and oilfield crews who worked far from city roads and safety nets. The decision to set up shop in Kelowna was not about convenience. It was about proximity to the hardest work in North America. The region's mines and forests chewed up ordinary trucks and spat them out. Operators needed machines that could handle steep grades, deep mud, and weeks away from service bays. White Motor's answer was a truck designed from the ground up for severe service, with heavy frames, robust axles, and an openness to customization that the industry had rarely seen. The name Western Star was no accident. It captured the rugged spirit of the territories these trucks were built to serve. Early models, like the original 4900, rolled out with square hoods and autocar-sourced cabs, ready for the kind of jobs that broke lesser rigs. The plant itself expanded rapidly, growing to 250,000 square feet of manufacturing space and another 50,000 square feet for warehousing. This was not just a factory. It was a workshop where engineers and workers collaborated directly with customers, tweaking builds for the realities of logging camps, oil patches, and mountain passes. Contemporary accounts describe the mission as simple, but uncompromising. Build trucks to endure heavy-duty vocations such as logging and oilfield work, with the belief that the driver is the most valuable asset in the trucking industry. In an era when most trucks were built for fleets and highways, Western Star was shaped by the needs of operators who demanded more than just transportation. They needed a lifeline. That original Kelowna plant did not just make trucks. It forged a reputation for toughness and adaptability that would define the brand for decades to come. In 1981, the Western Star story took a sharp turn. White Motor Company collapsed into bankruptcy, and while most of its business went to Volvo, Western Star was left out of the deal. Two Canadian energy firms, Bow Valley Resources and Nova Corporation, stepped in and took ownership. This was not a rescue by a corporate giant. It was a lifeline thrown by companies that understood the value of tough machines in remote places. The Kelowna plant, already known for its hands-on approach, now operated as a true independent. Production numbers stayed low by industry standards. While other truck makers cranked out fleets by the thousands, Western Star focused on small batch assembly, sometimes as few as 30 trucks a day. Every build started with a conversation, not a spreadsheet. Operators brought their own specs and demands straight to the factory floor. The workforce in Kelowna was not just pushing parts down a line. They were craftsmen. Welders, fitters, and painters worked alongside engineers to tweak frames, axles, and drivetrains for jobs that did not fit any catalogue. Custom orders became the rule, not the exception. Bow Valley and Nova did not force a change in direction. They doubled down on what made Western Star different. Trucks built by hand for people who needed more than a standard rig. The plant's output may have been modest, but every truck that rolled out carried the fingerprints of the team that built it. Paint jobs matched operator colours. Drivelines were specified for the grade, the climate, the haul. Even wiring harnesses could be adapted for a particular job site. This was a hand-built promise. Word spread quickly in industries that measure equipment by survival, not style. Logging outfits, mining companies, and oil field contractors found a partner in Western Star, not just a supplier. The break from White Motor Company was not just a change in paperwork. It locked in a culture where the operator's needs came first, and where the definition of quality meant building something that could outlast the job itself. The Kelowna workforce carried this reputation forward, shaping Western Star into a brand where grit and skill mattered more than volume. That hand-built identity would become the foundation for everything that followed. A Western Star begins with its frame. A double-channel steel rail layered with outer flanges and inner liners to maximize section modulus. This is not just engineering jargon. Section modulus measures a frame's ability to resist bending. And here it is, the difference between a truck that gives up on a logging road and one that keeps hauling year after year. On the 4900 and the 6900 series, rails reach up to 3/8 of an inch thick. Reinforcement options push resistance beyond 6 million inch-pounds. When a fully loaded rig twists in a pit or climbs a mountain, these frames hold. If they do crack, they are designed for repair, not replacement. A philosophy that values durability over disposability. Axles follow. Heavy-duty front and rear axles with load ratings far above standard highway trucks are standard. Planetary hub reduction axles multiply torque at the wheel ends, letting a loaded truck crawl out of deep mud or claw up a steep grade. The axle housings are built with thick webbing and reinforced carriers, so gears keep turning even in the harshest conditions. In logging, that is the difference between making it out or waiting for rescue. Traction matters. Geometry is deliberate. Set back front axles shift weight rearward, improving traction and steering on rough ground. More rubber stays on the road during steep climbs, and the nose is less likely to dig in on washed-out trails. Operators tailor their specs. 12,000-pound steer axles up front, 46,000 pounds or more across the tandems. The result is a truck that keeps its wheels planted and its load moving, no matter the terrain. Stability is engineered. Long hoods serve a purpose. They house engines up to 16 litres and 600 horsepower, with wide open bays for service. Mechanics can reach every filter, valve and bolt. That means faster oil changes and repairs, critical when you are far from a shop. In remote work, easy maintenance is essential. Driveline customization completes the package. Gear ratios, auxiliary transmissions, power takeoffs and hub reductions are tailored to the job. A logging truck might need deep reduction gears for slow descents. A road train in Australia requires cooling upgrades and extra torque for 100-ton payloads. Modular components allow for rebuilding as work demands change. Customization keeps these trucks useful for decades. Every choice, steel thickness, axle spec, geometry, serves one principle: function over form. There is no chrome for show, no styling that hinders the job. Survival in the real world comes first. In the world of heavy trucks, the real test does not happen on the drawing board. It plays out in the shop, under a layer of grease, with a torch in hand and a truck that has seen 1,000 loads. Veteran mechanic Bill Fraser remembers the first Western Star frame he ever repaired. The truck had spent 6 years hauling logs down steep grades in the Caribou, picking up scars from every winter. When a crack finally showed on the inner rail, Bill did not need to order a new frame. He cut a reinforcing gusset, burned it in, and sent the truck back out the next day. That same rig came back for routine service for another decade, the repair holding strong through 3 different owners. This is not a one-off story. Teardown after teardown, the patterns repeat. Western Star rails are built to take a beating, but just as important, they are built to be fixed. Welds run deep, not just for initial strength, but for future repairs. Mechanics talk about the confidence that comes from knowing a cracked flange or bent crossmember is not a death sentence. In shops from British Columbia to Queensland, the mantra is the same: repair, reinforce, and keep rolling. That is why operators hang on to these trucks for 1,000,000 miles or more. Logging operator Dave McKinnon swears by his old 4900. He tells about the time a spring thaw turned the main haul road into a mudslide. Halfway up a grade, with 40 tons behind him and the rear tyres spinning, he locked the diffs and crawled forward inch by inch. Lesser trucks bogged down or snapped axles. The Western Star crept over the crest, frame groaning but intact. When the season ended, Dave's truck came into the shop for a look over. The mechanics found wear on the frame rails and a few spots that needed a weld, but nothing that called for a replacement. They patched it, greased the fittings, and sent it back for another year's abuse. Operators and mechanics both know that in these jobs, perfection is not the goal. Survival is. Western Star's reputation lives in the scars and welds, the evidence left behind after a season in the bush or a year in the pit. Every repair tells a story, and every truck that comes back from the brink is proof that these machines are built for the kind of punishment that would send others to the scrapyard. In the shop, toughness is not just a claim. It is measured in weld beads, cracked paint, and trucks that keep coming back for more. Sunrise over the Queensland Outback does not bring relief. It brings another day of heat and red dust. In 1983, Western Star landed in Australia not as an export, but as a truck that had to prove itself from the ground up. The first units arrived at the Wakel assembly plant near Brisbane as completely knocked down kits, ready to be pieced together for a continent that chewed up lesser machines. From the start, these trucks faced a trial by fire, temperatures above 100 degrees Celsius, endless corrugations, and hauls that stretched for days across the interior. Road train operators had seen imported trucks melt down on the Birdsville track, their radiators boiling over, and their axles twisting under the strain. Western Star engineers listened. They swapped in oversized radiators, big enough to keep coolant flowing when the mercury hit 50 degrees Celsius. Dual and even triple air cleaners kept Outback dust from choking the engines. Bull bars were not just for looks. They were welded on thick, ready for kangaroos and stray cattle at highway speeds. Old hands like Mick O'Shaughnessy, who ran the Stewart Highway with 3 trailers behind him, remember the difference. He said you needed a truck that would not blink. Western Star gave us frames that did not crack and cooling systems that did not quit. Operators specified their own gear ratios and axle setups, chasing every ounce of reliability for the long pull from Darwin to Adelaide. The Wakel plant turned out just 53 trucks that first year, each one tailored for the punishing distances and wild payloads of Australian freight. By the end of the decade, Western Star had become the backbone of Outback heavy haul. Local mechanics learned to reinforce chassis rails and fit auxiliary oil coolers, turning tough trucks into legends that could run 1 million kilometres between rebuilds. Western Star's reputation spread from the Nullarbor to the Pilbara, not through advertising, but through word of mouth, operators telling each other which rigs made it home. In the Outback, Toughness is not a slogan. It is survival. And for the men and women who run Australia's longest roads, the badge on the grille means a truck that has been tested where it matters most. By the late 1990s, Western Star had built a reputation that reached from the forests of British Columbia to the red dust tracks of the Australian Outback. The world of trucking was changing. In 2000, Daimler Chrysler acquired Western Star and brought it under the same corporate roof as Freightliner. For many brands, that kind of buyout means the end of individuality. It would be a slow fade into fleet trucks and standardized options. That did not happen here. Daimler understood what made Western Star different. Instead of folding it into Freightliner mass-market models, they kept the brand identity intact. Low-volume premium builds for jobs that punished ordinary trucks. Production moved from Kelowna to Portland, Oregon in 2002, and later to Cleveland, North Carolina for certain models. The old hand-built ways gave way to modern assembly lines, but the operator-first philosophy remained. Daimler's global reach brought access to advanced engines and drivetrains, Detroit Diesel, Cummins and Mercedes-Benz power plants, and yet the truck stayed focused on the toughest assignments. There was no push to chase big fleet sales. Western Star kept its build-to-order model, tailoring each truck to the customer's demands, whether that meant a reinforced frame for a mining outfit or a custom driveline for an Outback road train. The badge on the hood meant something. Models like the 4800, 4900 and 6900 became icons in their own right. The 4800, with its shorter wheelbase, handled tight logging roads and construction sites where maneuverability mattered as much as strength. The 4900, a staple since 1967, earned its keep as the workhorse, trusted by operators to haul heavy loads year after year across continents. For the biggest jobs, the 6900 stood alone, a truck built for oversized loads, mine sites, and the kind of work where failure was not an option. Each model was more than a number. They were tools built for a purpose, shaped by decades of real-world feedback. Daimler's stewardship did not water down the brand. If anything, it gave Western Star the resources to refine what it already did best. Operators noticed. Veteran driver Rick Jensen summed it up. He said, "You can spec a Western Star for the job, not just for the road." That is what keeps us coming back. Through all the changes, ownership, factories and new technology, the core promise stayed the same. Western Star remained the truck for operators who measure value in years, not model cycles. In an industry where most brands chase volume, Western Star stuck to building fewer trucks and building them stronger. That is how you earn loyalty from the people who need their machines to last no matter what the job throws at them. In an era chasing automation and mass production, Western Star stands as proof there is still a market for machines built with grit and purpose. Today, when infrastructure pushes deeper and loads get heavier, operators reach for what lasts. Some jobs do not get easier, so the demand for real toughness only grows. The road may change, but what survives on it still matters. Let us know what you think in the comments below.